So today we're going to talk about how a mentorship student, he basically added $14,442 in cleanup profits from not just from new people, but from people that actually told him no less than 6 months ago. So I want to really talk about how to do this for yourself. So whether you're getting started, whether you're, trying to go and get some new leads, whether you already have some leads, how to really reorient your leads that you already have, and just kind of making sure that things are a lot easier for you to grow your business. Give me 1 second. Let me slide over and grab my leg. Uh, so we have a new studio setup since the last time that I was coming live like this. So really just kind of moving some things around and just getting some things moving. And it's been a very cool kind of like update. So who am I? My name is Bryce Tubbs, and I basically got started with my accounting and bookkeeping business back in 2015. Now, when I got started, there weren't a lot of like resources online to really help people out, right? So what ended up happening was like for the first 6 months, I basically was just like spinning my wheels. So I was trying, but it just wasn't really working out correctly because number one, I didn't know how to do marketing. I was not very organized, so I never really knew exactly like how much work I was actually supposed to do to go and like get a result. And it ended up just taking a lot more time to get things to work than what it probably should have. Just being kind of honest. So what ended up happening was I ended up going back into work for about 8 months. While I was in the office, like every dollar that did not go towards like bills, light entertainment was going into courses. So I had to go do like courses like masterminds, vacation retreats, guru retreats. Now the problem was back then there weren't a lot of like all-in-one business courses. Everything was more about like how to get like a tax job, how to start like a tax firm, how to like, get an in-house like bookkeeping job. So I had to go buy a bunch of different things, just like do a lot of like trial and error as we're kind of going. See, a number of people are watching. I see Angel Arrington is watching on Facebook. Joshua Marcus is watching. Shirley Ye is watching. Joe Johnson's watching. Jennifer Montgomery Hanson is watching. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. This is kind of cool. So on this side, I'm using the phone. On this side, I'm using it's a tool called Restream. So just lets you kind of stream to multiple different like social media platforms at one time. So number one, most important thing. Also, I forgot. If you want help growing your business, go ahead and click the link either above or below the video to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. So, number one, in terms of how to make this possible, you have to be tracking all of your leads inside of either a spreadsheet or a CRM. All a CRM basically is it's just customer relationship management tool. Basically, it's like a software that can store contact information, conversations you've had, whether it's text conversations, email conversations, even in some cases, social media conversations. Because if it's not tracked, it's very hard to grow it because it's very easy to kind of forget about people. Like if I did not have my CRM, I would forget about half the people that have ever like worked with me. Like I literally, before they started working with me, I literally had so many leads, I just didn't remember their names. So I had to have tools and different things in place to make sure that as leads were coming in, no matter how fast or how many, I could keep track of them as often as possible. So it's all about number one. Now, if you don't have one, it's going to be really challenging. Like I said earlier, like in the beginning, I was very, very unorganized. Now, again, being unorganized, the reason why that makes so much of a difference or a reason is because like if you're not organized, every single thing that you do feels like it's like you have so much mental baggage and so much like mental like weight on you that it's very hard to move forward. I see Cantrella said, "Welcome back." And she said, "Sierra, yeah, good to see you, Cantrella. I would like looking forward to kind of learning more about the one of the partnerships you were talking about. I'd love to do another interview series with you. Maybe we can have you on inside like our group or something. But yeah, yeah, and also welcome back. I haven't done one of these in a couple weeks. I've been traveling and stuff, so good to be back. Good to be back in the saddle and just doing these. So next thing you have to know is like in order to get someone to end up saying yes to you, you have to kind of understand like why did they say no in the past. So whenever I'm thinking of why someone said no, there are internally like what I understand and externally what they say, right? So there are generally about 6 to 7 different reasons why someone might work with you or might not work with you and like the objections they give you. So number one is going to be a smoke screen. It's basically going to be something like I need to think about it, I need to pray about it, let me go and kind of like go send like some smoke signals, or go see a psychic, right? That's usually a smokescreen, because most people don't actually need to think about it. It's just that they don't want to tell you no, and they're trying to let you down. Now, in some cases, they might need to think about it. It just really depends on the person. But most people that are successful in business are successful because they're good at making decisions. And they have heuristics. All heuristic is like a very shorthand pattern that someone uses to be able to go and like know, like, is this the right thing or the wrong thing to do? So in a lot of cases, we talk about a business to business sale, which what you're doing when you're selling like monthly accounting and monthly bookkeeping services, it's a business to business sale. So they generally are really good at decision making. So they're generally not going to have to think about it. So first things first, if they tell you to think about it, you have to figure out like what do they ask them to think about. Okay, so now that brings us to another set of objections. There's a value objection, there's a money logistic objection, there's a time objection, there's a partner objection, there's also going to be a money, time, partner, value, timing objection is another one that you can have. Now, the reason why these objections are so challenging for most people is because whenever you're trying to objection handle, it ends up turning into an argument. And the reason why is not necessarily because you're trying to be like a pushy used car salesperson. It's generally because you want to help the other person out. In a lot of cases, objections can be a little bit illogical, because like I'm sorry, the last one was a fear-based objection, fear or hesitation objection. Now, the reason why it's you want to help them out. And for the entire like 15 to 45 minutes you were on the call with the person, they were definitely saying like, I need help. I need help. Can you help me out? I'm so grateful for your help. This is awesome. Then at the end of the call, when you've either presented your service or you say your price, they generally will say something different, like, oh, I need to think about it, or oh, I don't have the money to pay for it, or oh, I have to go talk to my partner, right? And the way that you can handle objections is really by understanding like what is the actual root cause of it? Is it actually something that you need to handle, or can you actually just ask a clarifying question to get them to really start talking about like how did they come to the decision to use that objection? Because if you understand why is someone using a certain objection, then it causes you to be able to help them think through that objection and start seeing things in a more logical or rational view. Because most people, what happens, especially when it comes to accounting and bookkeeping, there's a reason why someone that's doing $3 million a year does not have an accountant or does not have a bookkeeper. In some cases, let's assume that if they've never had it, there's a reason why they've never had it. So your job is to really understand how to dissect, like, what is their thought process when either selecting or not selecting to work with someone, and then really kind of understanding what are the different like points and concepts that the person either is unclear of, doesn't understand, or does not value. When you're able to do that, now you can start reconstructing beliefs. Now, whenever we talk about reconstructing beliefs, oftentimes people think like you have to brute force, like you have to tell someone how to think or how to feel or how to believe. And that's generally not going to happen, because the more headstrong a person is, the less that you're able to kind of like bully them. And not even that you want to bully people, it's just it's kind of what it turns. And yeah, fear of objection is real. Someone said it really kind of comes down to asking a question with empathy, understanding what the root of the problem is, and then being able to offer either an encouragement, motivation, or a very, very tough love logical reason said in a very polite way that gets people to actually like go and actually change their mind. That is 90% of objection handling, right? You cannot brute force your way in. So once you understand like which of those like six different objection types you're dealing with, then you can start handling those objections. Now, just like someone said in the comments, Kentrella said 95% of people fear basically struggle and suffer with fear of rejection. Okay. Now, the reason why this is challenging to get people who said no to come back to you within about, any amount of time is that the sting of rejection is very strong. Like you might have felt like, hey, I thought this person was going to sign up with me, but they didn't. Maybe you already cashed the check in your mind. Like maybe it was like a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 cleanup, and you basically cashed the check. Like you knew exactly where that money was going to go. You knew exactly what you're going to buy with that money. That was going to pay for your vacation. It was going to like you can put that towards your child's college fund, etc. And it didn't come through. And there's a lot of like those negative kind of memories that are happening there. So there's an exercise I oftentimes do, Anytime that I feel like very irritated, very annoyed, or I feel like I've been wronged by something or somebody. So it's generally about three sets of 25. Or you can do, it's really about 75 different things, right? So I basically have a sheet of paper. I basically separate into three, or in some cases, four parts. So what did I do that I shouldn't have done? What did I not do? Or what did I do that I should not have done? What did I not do that I should? And then why am I grateful for the other person or whoever, or a situation, or grateful for the person, situation, whatever actually I'm upset about. And I literally write 25 reasons, 25 things, 25 things. It just kind of like unpacks that negativity from me. And I no longer feel that sting. I no longer feel as irritated as what I did in the past. And like, for me, like I can generally have, I'm very like a kind of a moody person where it's like, I'm very consistent with my mood. But when I start swinging towards a mood, like if I get irritated, annoyed, or angry, I'm generally there for like an hour or XYZ, like XYZ amount of time where I'm just like ranting and just irritable. I'm just like, I hate this person, I hate this thing, and like it can just be very, very annoying, and it's not very productive to the overall goal of like whatever I'm trying to accomplish at the time. So that's very important to kind of get an understanding of this. Now, if you can really reduce that sting of rejection, now you can start really going and attacking. Now, the reason why it's also important is because oftentimes, in order for you to get them to say yes, before they like had said no in the past, you have to have a very level head and be okay with understanding like a little bit of confrontation. Now, I don't necessarily mean like you're arguing with them or you hate them or you guys are mad at each other or you're upset. It's more, you have to be able to understand why they're saying no and if things have changed in a very, very patient way. Because remember, when we talk about objection handling, you can't bully people, you can't push people. It has to be their idea of why they move forward with you. So, in order for you to understand, you have to be able to listen to why they said that, help them understand why what they just thought is wrong, really talk about the misconceptions that are involved with whatever objection they just did, then help them go and move forward and make a decision. But you have to be very, very level headed. Don't take things personally, and then move forward. Now, next thing, so the actual tactics of how to do this. I generally recommend you try and reapproach them in terms of like 3 month cycles. Most people, what happens like every 90 days, a person has like a very similar problem, just kind of like pop back up in their life. So let's say, for example, a person, mm, okay, let's say a good example. So I had a client one time for bookkeeping, and every 90 days they basically have like a cash crunch. So like they really needed help with understanding like their numbers because like they would make money, but their AR was very, very slow in comparison like what their bills were. So they were always kind of running into cash crunches like every like 90 days. So the first time I spoke to the person, they had just come out of a cash crunch, so they weren't really feeling the urgency to actually do the service. They're like, I don't really know if I want to. I don't know. It's not that important for me right now. And then literally all I did was just circle back. I knew that was 9 days, so I could basically count on the calendar. So the first 9 day was here. I was technically at day like at about day like 45. So I knew that I just set in my like CRM to go contact them 45 days later. Kind of goes back to that first thing I talked about, like have a CRM in place so that you can keep track of when to actually contact, how to contact, and what to actually say to those specific people. So I looked at my CRM 45 days later, then I actually knew to go and approach him. And I caught him right in time where he had another cash crunch and he was like freaking out, right? And since he was negative, he was freaking out. It was actually his idea to get started working together. So you don't have to bully, you don't have to push, you don't have to like objection handle. You just use time to actually get people to want to work with you because time is going to close more deals than any script, objection handling, or begging, prodding, and pleading will ever do. So if you understand how to utilize time and use these 3 month cycles, usually if you think about it, what generally coincides in the 3 month cycles? It's generally going to be holidays, right? So there's 4th of July, there's October 31st, there's going to be Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, there is MLK Junior Day, there's Labor Day, there's Memorial Day. Like there's so many different like these major holidays. So I actually like using major holidays to actually reconnect with leads. So first things first, we're always talking about building relationships, right? Whenever I'm talking about building relationships, I'm thinking in terms of like a triangle. So there's three main points in building a relationship. Point number one is going to be, we're going to use this side. Point number one is going to be about their current business problems. The second part of the triangle is going to be their future business goals, aspirations, or direction they're trying to go. The third most important part is going to be the personal basically elements of their life. What are their favorite sports? What are their favorite hobbies? Do they have children? Do they have a family? Do they like certain events? Do they ride horses? Like, what are some things on their personal life that can basically have an emotional connection with the person that gets them to want to stay with you a lot longer? So not only are you able to get the leverage from having and understand their personal problems, but you now are connected to the vision of where the business is trying to go, and now the person likes you. So since the person likes you, you're going to be able to retain them for a lot longer, and they're going to be a lot more receptive when you're able to a lot more receptive when you are objection handling, because you're not trying to bully, you're not trying to prod. They're open to being influenced by you because they really want to work with you. Okay. Now, inside of our mentorship program, we teach you guys how to go and follow up with them at every major holiday. I call them respark campaigns or holiday campaigns. Now, anytime that you see like one of our students get like, this person got 14 consultation calls in the first week of January, it's generally because at New Year we run one of these kind of campaigns, and it generally works very well because people are already looking for the service and then moving really quickly. Now, another thing you have to do is understand that if you gave a person a price quote in the past, you in a lot of cases need to reprice out the service to make sure that you do not underquote. A lot can happen, in 6 months to a year. So they've been ignoring it for a year. Their business can drastically change in that time. So if you go back with an old price quote, but the business has like 3x or 5x, and you didn't 3x or 5x your price, you're automatically going to be undercharged. So you have to be able to really explain why the person needs to be repriced. In a lot of cases, if you do the process right, and if the person actually wants to work with you, and if the pain is like big enough and deep enough, they'll be willing to accept the new price. Like, they'll understand. You just have to get really good at this kind of understanding and that three-pronged approach to get the people actually want to help you and want to work with you. KR said hello. Hello, KR. Nice to meet you. Um, what's KR short for? Is K your first name and then R is like your last name, or is that like your nickname? Or like, yeah, really interested to meet you. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning in and leaving a comment. Awesome. Another thing that's important when it comes to this pricing, like anytime to give someone a new price, whether it's an existing client, it's a lead that may be like misrepresented their work, you should expect for people to be upset with you. We had a student inside of our mentorship program, real name, first name is Kevin. Awesome. Nice to meet you, Kevin. So you should naturally expect someone to be upset with you. The lady in the program was like, "Man, they basically wanted to do like a new service, and I was thinking about how I should raise the price, but I know they're gonna be mad at me. Last time they came to me and they wanted me to do something. I asked if I could raise the price. They got upset with me. I'm like, well, that's normal. Anytime there's any kind of change that the person has to either do or go through, they're gonna have some form of resistance to it. So you have to be prepared for that and expect for the person to give you some sort of resistance. That's why doing the objection handling is so important, because when they give you that resistance, if you have done like the right things, built the right amount of trust, now they're actually receptive to doing it. In a lot of cases, they will, even if they're upset with you, it's more gonna be like, it's not that they're upset with you, they're just upset that something has to change. You'd be surprised how many people hate change, like they just hate change, right? Even if they're successful, they hate change. So you just have to just be aware of that and just be understanding of it and just like move forward. But that is how the student actually did it. So in terms of his follow-up list, he only had about 7 leads. Out of those 7 leads, 3 of them signed up with them. So one person, I believe, paid him 7,000. Another person paid him about 7,000. One person came on. They didn't need to clean up, but they actually wanted like monthly services. I believe the monthly services were about like $1,700 a month. So it doesn't take that many leads to do so. You just have to have a really good process in place so that you can come back to them, build a relationship, and also make sure that when you first start talking to them, they're actually clients that can afford to pay you within that target price point. For me, I'm always recommending to people like go after companies that are doing between 500 to about $5 million per year. Now, when you start going past 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, those are really good clients as well. But it's just for the average person, like maybe if you've never sold, your own business, something of that kind of size, it can be a little bit intimidating to do so. So just really understanding that range has been very helpful for my career and for a lot of the students who coach in the mentorship program. Okay. Now I have to end this video because generally if we make this video longer than about like 22 minutes, I've just found that Facebook kind of lowers the reach and the percentage of people who it sends it to. So I'm trying to be cognizant of that. Now, if you want some help growing your business, like maybe even trying to grow, it's just not quite going the way that you want, or maybe you're thinking about starting a business, it's just not, there's so much stuff you just don't know, and like just so much stuff overwhelming you. If you want someone in your corner to actually help you get to where you need to go and where you want to be, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay? I will talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your week. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin said good stuff. Looking forward to the next live stream. Yep, I think we're gonna start doing them more consistently on every Thursday, like we usually do. So I think I'm gonna be done traveling. I have one more trip coming up on August 1st to the 4th, so that shouldn't impact our schedule, but we'll just kind of see it around there. I really appreciate you guys, like, your time. I really appreciate you guys watching. It means so much that I actually have people watch me. There was a time where I didn't have people watching me, so I really appreciate you guys today. Okay, take it easy. Talk to you soon. Have a good one.